Well, hello, my YouTube friends and family. Good Friday morning. Cecil Pearson Jr. Coming to you live here on YouTube this morning with a special question and answer session. Hello, Angela, Angel Glow, Dana, Logan, Pamela, Chrissy. Good to see y'all. Hello, Gail. I don't know, Grim. Hello, Jim. Dana. I don't know. I, I have no idea what or if Gail is even going to feed me this morning. Well, it won't be nothing on camera because Franco. Coonsy. Morning, Emma. Bunch of questions I got yesterday after the preaching yesterday morning. I want to first say, if you don't agree with what I preached yesterday morning, if you don't agree that the book of Enoch has a place, then don't. That's completely up to you. Most of the time, I preach and stay out of the Old Testament. I preach in the New Testament. That's where I preach at most of the time. But God is trying to give some people some knowledge and answer some questions that they have. Like, why can't we do this? Everybody tells us to stay away from, let's just say, witches. Everyone tells us to stay away from it. They tell us that it's sinful, but they don't tell us why. Okay? I covered that yesterday. And apparently that's enough! Sit down! I covered that yesterday, and apparently it ruffled some feathers, and I got told to go kick rocks barefooted, and all kinds of stuff. But some people had some genuine questions, like how tall is 3,000 cubits? 3,000 cubits is 4,500 feet tall. Now you let that sink in for a minute. These women that gave birth to these giants weren't giants like Hagrid in a Harry Potter movie. No. They were taller than the tallest building on the planet. 4,500 feet tall. And see, that book goes into all kinds of different things. Like the very next chapter goes into how Cecil, one of the fallen angels, taught man how to extract and make metal, and how to make swords and shields and a full suit of armor, and then how to use them. The angel Cecil is where the art of what we call today modern warfare came from. This angel Cecil. This world didn't know war until these watchers had sex with women and created these giants, and then men had to fight against them. This world knew sin and it knew death. We know that from the book of Genesis. But it didn't know full-blown mechanized war. I want you to think about something for a minute. How much better would this world be? Let's just say if old Vladimir Putin wanted to take there's several places online you can read it for free, or you can get it in the Geneva Bible that I bought from Amazon. The Geneva Bible, the 1560 edition with the Apocrypha. The book was like $41. But wouldn't it be so great if, Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, who's fighting against, I don't know the man's first name, Zelensky, President Zelensky, in Ukraine. Wouldn't it be great instead of the kind of fights you see going on right now where children's hospitals getting bombed, getting rocketed by Russia, if the two leaders didn't have to lead soldiers onto the battlefield and fight with swords, and the leader that fell is the one that lost? Wouldn't that war be a lot better if that were the way it was, rather than the way it is today? When a man wanted to go to war with somebody, he actually had to get his backside on the battlefield and go to battle. It would be a little bit better, wouldn't it? Like it was back in the days of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, back in the days of Moses back when the leaders took the battlefield. I think it would be just a little bit better. No, sir. There we go. That's the front of it. And that's the side of it. And that's the back of it. Let me do this. Give me just a minute. I'll help y'all out with that. Sing no wondrous love of Jesus. Sing his mercy and his grace. Y'all ready for this? Now you ain't got to look it up on Amazon. Just click that link. It'll take you straight to it. The book is a little expensive. It's $41, I think. The witches came, that they were the women, the very first witches were the women that the watcher angels chose to mate with. They were taught how to say incantations, to cast spells. They were taught all that stuff. Now I can do that too. But folks, not everybody is going to agree with everything I say. And you can or you cannot. That's completely up to you. I can't force the matter. But God asked yesterday if I had these books of knowledge, why wouldn't I share them? And the knowledge that I gained from them, why wouldn't I share that? What good does it do to have the knowledge if you don't share it? This is Tony, my sister-in-law. Okay, Tony. I don't. I don't really know how other to word it than this. The Jews, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin, the high priest, they all did not. None of them really agreed with what Jesus was teaching them and trying to teach them because it was not of the old text. It wasn't of the old way. And they called him a heretic. They called him a blasphemer. They called him all kinds of things. They even tried to stone him at one point, at which point he had to use his divine power to escape death. The people who have been raised at the King James Version, the King James Version, the King James Version, that's the only true, but that's a lie. It's not the only true version. The King James Version has books left out. Those books were important enough for God to inspire it to be written. They were important enough for you to read. Wouldn't you think so? If God inspired it to be written, don't you think He meant for it to be read? The book of Enoch, I'm just talking about just the book of Enoch right now. It foretold the great flood. It prophesied the great flood. It prophesied the coming of Jesus Christ. How can that book not be important? It was one of the books that prophesied the coming of Christ. How could that not be important to Christians and their studies? I'm sorry. I do know why Enoch was taken out of the Bible. It was controversial. It's extremely scary. And basically it kind of lets you know sometimes that monster you think is under your bed, yeah, it's actually a monster under your bed. It lets you know just what the fallen angels can and can't do. And King James wanted a people he could control. I'm sorry, Angel Glow, I'm not going to speculate on what they may have had or may not have had. They could have had a giant heart to power that giant body they had. I mean, look at a hummingbird. Its heart doesn't have 4 chambers like us. It has 2. And it beats 200 to 220 times a minute. Well, a hummingbird's heart does. A human's heart beats between 80 and 100 times a minute. And it's got 4 chambers. My adult size heart will not fit inside the chest of an infant, but it powers my body just fine. An infant's heart will not fit inside my chest. It won't have enough muscle to power the entirety of my body, and I would die. So they may have just had one regular big 4-chambered heart, or maybe even a 6-chambered heart. We don't know. But I don't speculate on what's not written. When preaching the word, I honestly do try to keep my speculations and my opinions out of it. I try to bring it to you the way the news should be brought to you, without bias, without prejudice. I try to bring it to you just the way the Holy Ghost is giving it to me. I'd much rather you have it His way than my way, because His way is going to get written on your heart. My way, not so much. I'm not on an ego trip. I'm nothing on my own. I make mistakes and I often slip. Okay, Dale, if that's what you feel that you want to do, go ahead. I don't control what you and God talk about, or what you decide about stuff like that. Um, when I'm preaching, people just bombard me. Not so much here lately, but there's always people who have questions while I'm preaching, and I don't do answer questions during preaching services, but when I do question and answer services, very few people have questions. But everybody has one when they ain't supposed to have one. Emailed all times during the day, question after question after question. When I said I'm not doing question emails anymore, I do these question and answer sessions, and I'll answer your questions here. But I just don't have the time to answer that many emails in a day. I don't have time to answer 500 instant messages a day. And for the love of Mike, y'all, when I tell y'all I've gone to bed, it means I'm laying down. I'm laying down for a reason. Please stop trying to have a conversation with me when I'm laying down. Don't you think that's rude as crap? You got a question? Ask it now. Keep it out of my chat box. Keep it out of my email. Save your questions until we have a question answer session. And I'm more than happy to take care of it for you. But folks, it's got to be an end to this constant Facebook Express. I can't go to town without dang, 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 dang. I can't go shop for groceries. I can't wipe the crack of my backside without getting dang, 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 dang. Do you know how aggravating that is? No, you don't. Because people don't do it to you. If they did, you'd pull your hair out and be as bald as I am. Pamela, honey, when you talk to me about the stuff you talk about, that's not a bother. But if I say I've already laid down, it kind of needs to wait until the next day. You haven't done that. You haven't caught me after 7. But folks, I want you to remember something. I got a big wound where I used to have a toe. I got an infection in that. That infection makes me so sick, I can't keep food down, so I get extremely weak. I'm out there trying to grill some chicken yesterday, right? Something I've done my whole life. I'm trying to grill chicken. Y'all, I barely had the hand strength to turn over a whole leg quarter on the grill. Gail come out there and took the tongs from me and just grabbed it and fixed the grill. I couldn't do it by myself. She did it right by herself. I couldn't do it. This infection, and I've had some kind of infection now ravaging my body for over 2 years, has really done a number on me. It's hurt me pretty bad. Let's go back here. I don't know. Um, I do think Elijah will be one, but that's personal opinion. I'm not speaking for God. This is personal opinion. I do think Elijah will be one, but I don't know if Enoch will or not. And they weren't the only two people taken up. One was taken up in a whirlwind. One was taken up in a chariot of fire. Ezekiel was taken up in a chariot of fire. So they weren't the only two that went to glory without dying. The book of Enoch is about the different types of angels, about the Nephilim. It is about the seraphim, cherubim. It's about the different levels of heaven. Um, well, the Apocrypha is a bunch of different books mixed together. Grim, I didn't know so, but it kind of makes sense now. Yeah, 10 of them. Y'all remember me telling you when I died, I was taken before God in this great big throne room with a big gold door that I tried to open, but I couldn't open it. Um, that would be God's level. You also remember when I told you that I was taken up for a meeting with Jesus in a beautiful garden. That would be a different level. And when I told you that I was taken up and I was able to eat at the welcome table, that was a different level. And hell, yet another level. All under the rule and reign of God the Father. So, yeah, different levels. And it makes sense now because when Enoch went through and described each level, it triggered memories of me being on a few of these levels. I've not been in all of them, but it triggered memories of me being on some of these levels. And it does lend credit to where Jesus said today to the thief on the cross, today you will be in paradise with me. Paradise is a level of heaven. Purgatory is where the watchers are chained up and they're waiting now for judgment. And, buddy, I'm going to tell you right now, I think their judgment's going to be extremely brutal. I think it's going to be nasty. I think they're going to really suffer. I really do. No, nobody's in the lake of fire, but there are people that are in hell. Because the Bible says that. The Bible says that Lazarus was in Abraham's bosom, which is paradise, and that the rich man lifted his eyes from hell. So there's people in hell. I've been in hell. I can tell you hell is ever expanding every day. It's getting bigger every day. Yes. Yes. That is a level that's right before God's level. Remember I talked about that. The lush green meadows and rolling hills. Yes. The smell of fresh honey. The smell of wild honey and fresh bread. Yes. That beautiful singing. Mm-hmm. We are doing questions today, Malachi. But when I was in hell, folks, it seemed like nobody was making it into heaven. It seemed like nobody was making it into heaven. I could hear thuds all around me. And it sounded as if it were raining souls into heaven that the angels were throwing into hell. It sounded like angels were throwing souls into hell like rain. It sounded like a real bad hailstorm. Hail storm. My country, hail and hail, are two different things. Hail, Hail, being thrown into HE double hockey sticks. But it is a shame that hell is having to ever expand itself because man is too stupid, too pig-headed, and too proud to hit their knees and admit that they've made a mistake. I can't answer that, Malachi, because I don't know yet. But I do know that there are archaeological digs right now where they have found footprints pressed down into solid rock. And these footprints are bigger than a house. I do know that they are excavating the bones and skeletons of giant, they call them humanoid creatures, that the skull from crown to jaw won't fit on a 53-foot flatbed semi-trailer. They're having to bring in special special made trailers to haul these bones out on. Okay. I do understand the 1,000-year reign and why it's going to happen. For 1,000 years, heaven is going to be sitting on this earth. Yes, this earth. And there will be peace and harmony, and we will live with God for 1,000 years. Now, that's 1,000 of his years. That's 1,000,000 years here on earth. That's 1,000 of his years. Because it'll be in his time. At the end of this time, the devil is going to be loosed for a short period to tempt who he will. And after living with God this long, there's still, I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. After living with God for this long, there's still some dumbasses that are going to fall for Satan's tricks. And after he's tempted who he will, all those that fell with him a second time are going to be gathered up and thrown into the lake of fire, and that'll end all evil. And we will go out and tread the bones of the wicked. The Bible says so. That's the 1,000-year millennial reign. Imagine, if you will, you, Angel Glow, Pamela, uh, Brent, Chrissy, Tony, Coonsy, you guys have lived in the presence of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. You've been by his side. You have knelt and you have worshiped him. You have glorified him and you have come into your reward. Now imagine, if you will, Satan coming up and telling you, we're going to overthrow this guy and we're going to run this planet again. You're going to get pulled away from that. You're going to be stupid enough to turn around and walk away from the heavenly bliss that you have felt for 1,000 years. You really going to walk away from that for the bull crap Satan's got to talk about? Nah. That's pretty stupid. That's pretty stupid we were. It's really stupid. God can destroy anything he wants to. All God's got to do is just simply speak it out of existence, and it's gone. But he chooses to punish them for their mistake and what they did. But the lake of fire isn't eternal. When they go into the lake of fire, the Bible tells us that is the second death. Your first death is here. Your second death is there. No, it was a conspiracy. It was not a conspiracy of the Vatican. King James removed the books. Oh, I expect he was, Angel Glow. Because he had some of it omitted too. Like in the scriptures it says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities in the darkness. It also talks about corrupt rulers of our land. Ooh, but that was left out, y'all. Yeah, it was. Y'all, I done found me a new favorite tater chip. The Pringles Carnita Tacos. I don't know if you've had them or not, but for $1 a can, they ain't bad. Catholic Church does cover up a lot. Hang on. Hey, Gail. Get my Jesus books. Mm-hmm. The book of Judas, please.
Judas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. There it is. Oh, the rock was covering it. I couldn't see the spine.
You mean that one? Yeah, I've read it. I've read it. It's got Jesus talking about Michael and Gabriel in a kingless generation. Talks about a whole bunch of stuff. Guys, just another account of the gospel of Jesus. That makes it important just in what it is. I also have the book of Magdala, the book of Mary Magdalene. I have that book and I've read it. That's thick. As the book of Judas is, there's only 161 verses. The rest of this is people trying to figure out what he was saying. There's only 161 actual verses that he wrote. and it gives scriptural reference. Okay, Angel Glow. You're welcome, Malachi. Just remember, when you read these books, don't take my word for it. Read it with the wisdom and the knowledge of the Holy Ghost. Let it bear witness of whether or not what you're reading lines up with the Spirit. Because angels aren't gentle nor patient. They are messengers of God, and they don't have time to muck about because you don't want to accept what's being told. Remember when Jacob got into the fight with the angel and wasn't going to let him go, and the sun was coming up, and the angel touched Jacob in his back and crippled him. Angels aren't gentle creatures. They have zero patience. They accept what God says is gospel. You better as well. Because I'm going to tell you now, when they start showing up on the scene during this tribulation period, they are not going to have mercy. They have none. They have no mercy. They are without the emotions that we humans have to deal with. They have no emotion. They have no mercy. They have no grace, and they are not forgiving. Robes, crowns, mansions, unlimited food, unlimited peace and joy, unspeakable and full of glory. There's a lot of rewards in heaven. All right, guys, that's an hour. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you. Yes, they are extremely strict. They don't give a crap about what you think. They're here to do a job for God, and that's going to be it. But I love each and every one of you. I'm not doing a regular prayer session and all that today. Today was just question and answer. We appreciate all of the love and support. Really do. If you enjoyed today, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, don't. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Click the little bell icon, click all, and you'll be notified when I go live or upload videos. If you'd like to continue to support the ministry and my family, How to do so is down in the description of every video. I went through it yesterday. I won't go through it today. Do we need some help? Yes. I got a few spigots I need to replace and a toilet ring that I got a guy coming tomorrow that I need to replace. I could use some help. I also got a $290 power bill coming due and a $60 phone bill coming due. Yeah, we could use some help. But love you guys. We're praying for you. Love you, not nearly as much as God, but we love you. And the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll see y'all on Monday. Love you. Bye now.